are quite a few people who aren't here listening, which is totally fine. I'm going through and asking, people want to ask a question. We have several questions in the queue, but I want to be sure that there are some people who are here who did find this number, is that if you could get the word to the people that are on last week's conference call number, to tell them that they're in the wrong place.
Go ahead and go for it. Have we got a song or something we could play?
Yes, we could take a 5-minute break where everybody to get a beverage or whatever, and get that set up. I am blasting it on the Facebook page that conference line is not open.
Okay.
And posted the number to call into the show here.
Yeah, it's actually, it's best if people listen online, but they can call in to this number also, both. So the link
Correct.
to this, whatever. I'll help out too. Alrighty, this is Kimberly, and real quickly before we get going again, if you are able to get the word out that this show is playing on Blog Talk Radio, and the address for this program is blogtalk.com/global-voice-radio-network. And so perhaps you could all help spread the word. And this will be archived as soon as this program is over, which will be whatever your time is. It's a 3-hour program, and it only takes a few minutes for the archive to go live. So it will be available at that address also. So let's see. Also, for those of you who are new to Blog Talk Radio, if you would like to participate in the chat, you need to set up a profile attached to an email address. They'll never use your email address for any solicitation. It's just so you can become part of the Blog Talk Radio network. You can set up a name, but you cannot participate in the chat unless you have a profile on Blog Talk Radio. And let's see. The other thing is that if you are calling in and would like to ask a question, you need to press the 1 button on your keyboard or keypad or whatever in order to notify us that you are interested in asking a question. I've been going through and screening calls in the background, so we have a few people in the queue at this point. So, Drake, are you there?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. Denise? Okay, that's okay. So, Drake, at this point, are you wanting to talk further, or are you wanting to start taking questions?
I can go ahead and start taking questions. Now, I'm going to preclude something here. I'm going to tell everybody that if they want to know about what I'm talking about the ultimatum in terms of time, go and look at the video first, and then come back and ask your question. That video is very, very, very succinct. It's exacting. You don't pull punches. It's in their everyday language. And what you'll find is it simply lays it out like it is. And I normally don't do that sort of thing, but in this case, too many things have taken too long. And that's my reason for doing this way on this show.
Okay, I missed that part. So could you give me the information about the video so I can post it places?
It's on my website, AmericanNationalMilitia.com.
Okay.
It is a YouTube video. Everybody can get a hold of a chunk of it and send it to their whoever, didn't want to hear it anyway, if they want to bother somebody, or to the people that do want to hear it, which would be even better.
All right, excellent. Somebody posted in the chat room, thank you, and I'll make sure it gets posted around too, so I'll go find that.
Okay.
So I'm going to actually ask the first question, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
You were just talking about the 2 case scenarios, and I happen to come from a perspective of that what we see is what we get, so I'm a little concerned, and I'd like you to explain this, and I know I saw this in the chat, that I'm here doing my best to focus my thoughts, my emotions, and my words on what we are capable and our greatness. And essentially, what we see is what we get. And so, I saw the movie 2012, and I didn't necessarily want to go and see it because I don't want to feed that possible scenario. And so I am curious if you could maybe explain a little bit different what you were trying to say with those two case scenarios, along with the question of, are you in agreement that we need to keep our focus on our greatness and our ability to be creating our future in each moment?
Yes, no, yes, and yes. In terms of the two-case scenario, it's very simple. If you want what you saw in the movie 2012, don't do squat, sit on the couch, enjoy your beer until that happens. That's your choice. If you decide that is not too cool, and that having your couch go galloping around the countryside and spilling your beer and whatnot, if you don't want that sort of scenario, we as a people, and I'm talking about the whole of the population of the planet, are going to have to roll up our sleeves and get busy to heal it, to get it right, so that we don't have that. Now, E.T. is not going to take as much action. They don't want to take any action. They're not supposed to interfere. Just that simple. It's similar to Captain Kirk on Star Trek, non-interference with lesser civilizations or civilizations that couldn't handle that sort of thing or aren't technically advanced enough to be non-violent when you go materializing in front of them or whatever. So they didn't want to take this action. They had to get special permission. And it's consternating. That's sort of a mild form of constipation on a mental level. It is disagreeable to them that they have to take our garbage out. I would much rather be taking my own out as I do now. I'm capable of walking that far, and I can handle the bags because my wife knows she shouldn't load them up that much. The difference is this. A combination of two things bear into everything that everybody is familiar with. Now, I'm going to suggest that if you have not seen the first movie called The Matrix, go watch it and learn, because you're sitting in that right now. Each and every last thing here ain't really real as you think it might be. It has real impacts. If you decide you want to jump off the house, you're liable to break something in your butt or whatever. However, and I'm going to say this very clearly, if you learn how, you can do some of the things that you saw in that stupid movie. I've been practicing flying like Neo did, just out of curiosity to see if it goes that far. Some people look at me like I walk on water. I wish they wouldn't do that. That is not the case. Now, I've heard that you can walk on water anyway if you hold the right thoughts in your mind and go about things a certain way. When I was small, I decided to learn. The only way to do that, because Mom and Dad were busy all the time, was to learn for myself. That meant books. I got introduced to a dictionary rather rapidly because I didn't have the vocabulary, being as young as I was. And Mom did not need to explain the usage of each and every word in certain usages that were not exactly common. She got tired of that real quick. Took her about 15 minutes of me coming to her every 2 seconds wanting to know what this word meant. So I got introduced to Webster's, and I learned the usage and definition of words. And I got to where I developed a fairly decent vocabulary at a rather early age. I was considered too adult by the kids, and physically I didn't fit in as an adult, but I could converse with an adult on an adult level, which kind of surprised some people, which was all right, except that I was a brain-damaged kid like all kids are. However, in my process of learning, I also was introduced to the ideology of difference and differing belief systems. Now, you've got a whole bunch of different ones out there, and they run the gamut, all the way from cannibalism to holding holy hands to the Lord, snake handling, you name it, it's out there somewhere. And I needed to know how it worked. I needed to know what was superior to somebody's idea as to what should be done and how you should think and how you should act. I also was a bit of a rebel. I did not take well to authority. I was always getting my rear end shortened up by one or more of the adults in the family for varying reasons, as many as my imagination could get to. I definitely probably got in trouble for it. However, I wanted to know how it worked. So I studied things like a book called Mind Over Matter, Zen Buddhism, Hinduism, chants, chakras, spiritualities, and I mean a whole bunch of them, of all of these. And the reason was to understand what was going on and how to accomplish what I wanted to do. I ran across these self-help books that gave me a little more information, and one of those is The Power of Positive Thinking. People do not realize the difference between the simplicity of hitting your finger with a hammer and going, oh, gosh, and saying nasty things, or going, God bless it, man, that hurts. Ooh, Lord, did you have to teach me like that? That's painful. Well, think about it. A little kid don't know it's hot until the kid grabs the fire and burns their fingers. And from then on, and you should say this immediately, hot, burn the baby. Bingo. They pull their hands back instantly, every time, no matter what it is. If it's something going to bite them, hot, burn the baby, they pull their hands back, and 9 times out of 10, they'll be okay. That same thing applies to people. Now, in my case, what I just told you about is called fear. The baby remembers the pain and does not want to experience that twice. However, there is nothing that matches being able to crawl up in your grandma's lap and snuggle up. You are protected by all the powers anywhere on the planet that are all for you feeling good at that point. You're protected. God himself is probably standing right there at the front door saying, don't bother him. Okay, so this goes to attitude. And I'm sure people understand attitude. You get around people that got a bad attitude, and you kind of tend to edge away from them. Well, you don't even have to be close. That distance, that little area around you, is called sphere of influence. The sphere of influence is only limited by your imagination. What can you imagine? And how far can you push that sphere of influence? You can push it all the way out to your property line. You can go further, all the way downtown, whatever. Sphere of influence is your attitude, your take on things, and what you are putting out at that point. If you put out love, flowers blooming, little baby critters and animals, comforting a child you don't even know when they fall down and step on it, simple things. This is the unconditional love that God has for all his critters. And I'm going to tell you something. My parents were the greatest things that ever lived. They were so cool. They were so understanding. And they were so full of love that they let me live. I'm surprised some of the things I did that they did this, but they did. So what you have to understand is an attitude of the happiness of sunshine on your shoulders, the beautiful trees, bushes, flowers. You don't know, if you were walking down a path, say, somewhere, if this one particular thing that's blooming wasn't God giving you a gift. Ain't that beautiful? Oh, that is beautiful. And you smell it, and it smells just as good as it looks. Almost makes your mouth water. It smells so good. You can almost taste its beauty. Okay, the beauty of love is that it's the same thing that's been talked about in a lot of other places. when you light your light, and I'm going to tell you to do this. It's a neat little experiment.